Loki, the god of mischief, is many things: a villain, a trickster, a brother, a liar, and, occasionally, a hero. But above all, Loki is a survivor. In the pages of Marvel Comics, he's died multiple times, some deaths tragic, others ironic, and a few that genuinely changed the Marvel Universe. While death is rarely permanent in comic books, especially for gods, Loki's deaths always carry narrative weight. Each one marks a turning point in his journey, from villain to anti-hero to something more complex. Here are 4 of the most powerful and unforgettable times Loki died in the comics, proving that even a god can fall. 1. Loki's death in Marvel Siege. The Siege storyline was a major Marvel event that saw Norman Osborn, then head of HAMMER, launch a violent assault on Asgard, which had relocated to Earth. Loki, as usual, played both sides. He manipulated Osborn into attacking Asgard, believing he could use the chaos for his own gain. But things spiraled out of control when the Sentry, possessed by his dark alter ego, the Void, became a godlike force of destruction. As the Void started obliterating Asgard and its people, Loki had a rare change of heart. Seeing the horror he'd helped unleash, he tried to undo the damage by giving the Norn stones, powerful magical relics, to the heroes. This gave them a fighting chance. But the Void saw Loki's betrayal. In one of the most dramatic scenes in Marvel history, the Void unleashed a deadly energy blast that completely disintegrated Loki. Thor, witnessing his brother's sacrifice, was devastated. For perhaps the first time, Loki's death wasn't caused by his lies, but by an act of redemption. He died not as a villain, but as someone trying to make things right. 2. Loki killed by Thor, classic death, Thor number 432. In this earlier storyline from the 1990s, Loki pushes Thor past his breaking point. After years of betrayal, lies, and danger, Thor finally decides to put an end to Loki once and for all. The tension between the two brothers had built up over countless issues, Loki constantly plotting and scheming while Thor often showed mercy. But this time was different. Thor, enraged by Loki's latest attack and the suffering it caused, confronts him during a battle. In a rare moment of fury, Thor does the unthinkable: he kills Loki. It's not a clever twist or a sacrificial moment. It's raw, brutal, and emotional. Thor snaps Loki's neck with his bare hands. What makes this death stand out is that it wasn't magical, symbolic, or part of a larger cosmic plan. It was personal. For readers, it was shocking to see Thor, the noble warrior, cross that line. Loki's death marked a dark chapter in Thor's journey, showing just how far even gods can fall when pushed too far. Of course, Loki would eventually return, resurrected through magic and myth. But this death left a permanent scar on Thor's heart. 3. Loki's death by King Loki, Kid Loki era, journey into mystery number 45. This death is perhaps the most emotional and symbolic of them all. After Loki's death in Siege, he is reborn as Kid Loki, a younger version of himself, free from the baggage of his past evil. This new Loki wants to be better. He doesn't want to follow the path of destruction his older self took. And for a time, Kid Loki is a fan-favorite anti-hero, trying to change, help others, and even save Asgard. But Loki's past doesn't forget him. An older, darker version of himself, King Loki, emerges. He represents the Loki that could have been, had Kid Loki continued down the path of evil. King Loki's presence is both external and internal. It's the metaphorical shadow of his past creeping in. In the final issue of Journey into Mystery, Kid Loki is forced to make the ultimate sacrifice. He allows himself to be erased, to die, so that his future self, King Loki, won't come to pass. It's not a physical death by a weapon, but the death of identity. Kid Loki chooses oblivion rather than becoming the villain he once was. This death was heartbreaking because it wasn't flashy or violent. It was quiet, personal, and full of meaning. It marked the end of one of the most compelling redemption arcs in Marvel Comics. 4. Loki's death in the Mighty Thor Volume 2 number 20, 2017. This version of Loki's death takes place in the middle of the larger War of the Realms saga. In this storyline, the 10 realms are at war, and Malekith the Accursed is leading a brutal campaign to conquer them all. Loki, as usual, finds himself dancing between sides, sometimes helping his enemies, sometimes saving his allies, always unpredictable. In issue number 20, he tries to warn Thor and Odin about the rising threat, but his past actions make it hard for anyone to trust him. During a confrontation, Loki is eaten alive by his own father, Loki the frost giant, who has allied with Malekith. Yes, eaten. Loki, in a rare moment of heroism, stands up to Loki and gets swallowed whole. It's graphic, bizarre, and shocking, but it's also symbolic. Loki's monstrous father, who never truly accepted him, destroys him in one final act of rejection. Of course, this isn't the end of Loki. He eventually returns, because being the god of mischief means death is never really the end. Still, this moment remains one of the most visually shocking and emotionally complex deaths in his long, winding story.